सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We are on verse 66. We will start today. सर्वे नन्दन्ति जीवा अधिगतयशसा गृह्णता चक्षुरादीन् अन्तः सर्वोपकर्त्रा बहिरपि च सुषुप्तौ यथा तुल्यसंस्थाः एतेषां किल्बिषस्पृग्झटरभृतिकृते यो बहिर्वृत्तिरास्ते त्वक्चक्षुश्रोत्ररसनविषयवशमितः याति शोकं च मोहम्. So this is the so far we have seen the some discussion on the sleep state, and we saw a very involved discussion on the sleep state, how the sukha is nothing other than the indriyas resting in the heart. We saw that very beautiful analogy of Indra and Indrani resolving in the heart, and we saw all that. And then now this is being taken from another angle. It is almost like the Acharya is wanting to exhaust every single discussion about the sleep state found in the Vedas. So this particular, that was from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad mantra which we saw. This is from the Rig Veda, and while I am able to find the citation, the number of the mantra that is given in the Bhashya is wrong, in the Tika is wrong. It is not the correct number. I am not able to find the number of it. It is somewhere in book 10 of the Rig Veda, perhaps mantra so 10th mandala, 10th book, and then 72nd subsection, and the mantra number here is cited as 10, but there is no 10th mantra for the subsection 72. So I'm able to see the citation, but the numbering is a little iffy, so somewhere it will be in that area for those who are interested in doing research. So otherwise, one can just enjoy the gist of it. And so here, continuing with the analysis of the sleep state. And the sleep state, of course, is very important for all Vedantins. Why? Because it comes in the class. One enjoys that in the course of the class. That could be one reason the sleep state is important. But also the sleep state becomes, on a more serious note, the sleep state becomes a upalakshana for Brahmananda. Brahmanandasya upalakshana. Upalakshana means it's kind of an example for the Ananda, which is Swarupananda, which is centered on oneself rather than dependent on contact with the sense organs, contact of the sense organs with the sense objects. So therefore, this is something which is, this is why we have this, everybody in all the Vedanta teachers, etc., are interested, writers are interested in the sleep state. That is why it is, because it is also somewhat of a mystery. How, you don't know you are asleep, and then you only know it in hindsight. And then you don't know the moment you fall asleep, nobody knows. You know the last thing you were doing or the last thought you were thinking, but then after that what exactly happened you don't know. So meaning there is some kind of an involuntary thing happening, and then you don't know that you are asleep. You cannot say, I am in sleepananda. Nobody can say that. Upon waking up, you say that, oh, I slept so well, I did not know anything. And so there is some kind of a mystery, and then again the sleep state on the relative level, on the empirical level, becomes an important discussion. Why? Because there is Bhagavan involved. And we already saw that in so many ways. Talking about Indra and Indrani and the Nadis, etc. We saw that, and we also saw a very important reason. This is why, since there is Bhagavan involved, and since the Jiva is enjoying, so to speak, the oneness with Bhagavan for a change, from all the complaints, etc. Therefore, the Kushalamatihi, the one who is adept, one who knows what is what, does not wake up the sleeping person. May you not wake up the sleeping person. Of course, you are exempt if you are a parent and you have a teenager at home. Then you will not get papa, okay? For waking up the teenager to go to school, college, etc. That has to be done. That is part of the role. But barring that, generally we don't wake up the sleeping person because it is seen as an intrusion. You don't come between the person and Bhagavan, and here there is oneness with Bhagavan. And in the Shastra is very clear. You don't cross, you don't come in between different kinds of people. So here you never walk in between a married couple. This is like an unwritten Dharma Shastra rule. So if you are a single person, and then you're going for a walk with a married couple, or you're going somewhere, you don't walk in between them. That is one rule. And then you don't come in the middle of a mother and a baby. You don't come in the middle of that. There is again that oneness, love. That is why. And then you don't walk in the middle of Guru and Shishya. You don't come in between Guru and Shishya. There again is that oneness with the Shastra, etc. And then again, this is the reason why you don't come between a Bhakta and Bhagavan. Of course, nobody walks in between, but still these things need to be told. In the middle of the puja, you don't walk like that. If you come in late, you don't come, and disrupt it. You sit back and wait for it to be over. So like this, there are certain rules. And the extension of this rule is again, when the person is enjoying oneness with Bhagavan, who are you to go and wake them up? Okay, so that is the continuation of this. And then to expound on that further, the person, what happens to the person during this state is described here very, very nicely. Sarve Jivaha Nandanti. Nandanti means they delight. And then the word Nandanti, even though it is there in the Rig Veda, immediately I am reminded of the what is that called? The Taittiriya Upanishad. Raso Vaisaha Rasaguhyevayam labdhva Nandi bhavati. Nandi bhavati. Oh, Raso Vaisaha means this Atma is the juiciest thing there is. Means when you think of something juicy, it is enjoyable, like a plump fruit, just ripe, just sweet. And then rasam hi eva ayam labdhva. So having gained this rasa in the form of the Atma, Nandi bhavati, becomes a bullock. No, not that Nandi which is in front of Shiva. The Nandi here is short for Anandi bhavati. Gaining Brahman, the person is joyful. Swarupananda here. That joy which is centered on the I rather than centered on the contact with the sense objects, sense organs, contact of the sense organs with the sense objects. And so here too, sarve nandanti, all of them delight. Who are they? Jivas. Who are the jivas? Who, when they are not, having this sleep state, they are complaining constantly. That is the jiva. That's why it is good to sleep. So, sleep is a form of temporary moksha, unintended temporary moksha. And then, whether the sleeping person gets moksha or not, you get moksha from the sleeping person and their complaints. So, sleep is very much lauded. So, sarve nandanti, this is uniform. The Acharya says sarve with, and jiva here, even though I'm saying human being, all the beings sleep. Even the owl, which is awake at night, owl, bats, all these nocturnal creatures which are awake at night, you will not see them at all during the day. Somewhere they are in their nests or asleep in their trees, somewhere they are gone. So they may have a different sleep cycle, but every being needs to sleep, and all the jivas, they are samanya, they are uniform in the experience of sleep. Uniform in the sense that they need to sleep, one, and uniform in the sense that they also are enjoying oneness with Bhagavan. And and then even if you see a ferocious animal sleeping, it doesn't appear so ferocious. It kind of looks cute. At least from the safety of your home on television, National Geographic, etc., you see a sleeping lion, sleeping tiger, and then you say, oh, how cute. And that cuteness is because they are one with Bhagavan. That is why. And then the moment it wakes up, it starts to think, okay, where is lunch? And then, if you happen to be nearby, finished. That's what it is. And so therefore, there is no predatory instincts in sleep, either for the animals, the beasts, or for the human being. The human being also has predatory instincts. In fact, that is the whole of one's life. What shall I pray? Oh, P-R-A-Y, no, P-R-E-Y. What shall I pray upon now? How shall I, what shall I catch? What shall I conquer? What shall I kill? This is what it is. That's why when teenagers talk to you, as it happens to me many times, and I ask them, how did you do in your test? They would have sat for some exam and then come to see me. How did you do in your test? They say, I killed it. First time when I heard this, I looked very worried at the mother. I said, I was not used to this expression. I said, killed it? What is he saying? No, that means he did very well. So this catch and kill mentality from this Pashu samskara, which are there, the samskaras of the bestial samskaras which are there from previous lives, are only honed and polished in this life. One looks very civilized and one looks like, oh, I'm respecting your rights and privileges. Meaning what? Not really. I'm just pretending to respect your rights and privileges, and then as soon as you're not looking, I will swoop upon them and I will make it mine. That is what the whole idea is. And so here, without whether one is a predatory human being or whether one is a predatory animal, all the predatory instincts of catch, conquer, kill, eat, survival instincts, basic survival instincts, are all at peace. Nothing to do. Sounds wonderful. Nowhere to go. Nothing to capture, nothing to let go, nothing to accomplish, nothing to worry about, nothing to run after, nothing to run away from. this is, if this doesn't cause happiness, I don't know what will cause happiness. Just listening to this list of things makes one relaxed. It's like a meditation, nowhere to go. Ah, nothing to accomplish. Oh, really wonderful. Is it the weekend? It's better than that. It is the end of of the three purusharthas of Artha Kama. Not just weekend. It is the end of these finite purusharthas, these finite goals in life. What do you mean by finite goals? That which you makes you go goal, goal. Goal, goal in Hindi means round and round, without any kind of a, without any kind of a tether. And so that which makes you go round and round is no longer there. The finite purusharthas, it is the end. Oh, so it's not like a weekend. No, it's better because it's the end of the weakened senses, the weakened mind, which is all completely fried. The brain, the mind, the heart are all completely fried, living in this predatory state all the time. Mind you, the predatory state also includes being vigilant, hyper vigilant. Who is going to come and take whatever is mine? Who is attacking me? Who is dissing me? Who is doing this? Who is doing that? Just like the animals. Just like that. They may be asleep, but one ear is out, for the noises, etc. And so like this, that hyper vigilance, that hyper watchfulness, in order to survive, in order to just cope, is just so tiring. It's extremely tiring, and therefore the sleep, of course, is delightful. That's why one is quick in going to sleep and one is late in waking up. So therefore, what? Sarve nandanti jivaha. The question is why? How? Suddenly this complaining jiva and this predatory jiva, always into other people's business and wondering what to do, etc. This jiva suddenly is delighted and is delightful. Why? How? Adhigata yashasa. Adhigata yashasa grinhata. Yashasa grinhata. So yashas here is, yashas literally means famous, but fame. But here yashas is the name for Bhagavan, Paramatma. Yashas means Paramatma. Why does yashas means Paramatma? Hello, Paramatma is the most famous thing there is. Simple. That's why yashas means Paramatma. Yashasa grinhata. By this Bhagavan, grinhata, withdrawing. Grinhan, withdrawing. Grinhata. By this Paramatma, who is withdrawing what? Chakshuradi. Who is withdrawing the sense organs from the sense objects. So beautiful. Meaning, you don't deserve any credit here. Even for going to sleep, you aren't to be credited. Why? Because Bhagavan is in operation here, it's not you. Because that Bhagavan, who is famous as what? The Adhishthana Devata of the eyes, ears, etc., the presiding deity of the eyes, of the ears. Very famous. Bhagavan, when you rub your eyes, that is, you are rubbing Bhagavan really. That sentience behind the eyes, that which allows the eyes to operate, that which allows you to say, I am the seer, that which allows the pramana of sight to take place. It's not you. Otherwise, your free will would operate each time you opened the eyes. You would say, I only want to see wonderful things. I want to see frolicking puppies, gambolling lambs, and other lovely, delightful, bucolic, scenery. But that's not what greets your eyes. You open the eyes and what do you see? A concrete jungle of buildings. For the tree, you have to look with you have to look very hard. for one tree, for one bush. So you're not in charge of what you see. It's like that, you see what is there to see. You don't, you may have some free will in deciding whether to open the eyes or not, sure. But once the eyes are open, sight takes place. What kind of a sight? A sight for sore eyes takes place. You hate what you're seeing, you don't like it at all. This is not within the gamut of your raga dveshas. This is nothing to do with what you want to see, what you like to see. No. Otherwise, the unpleasant sight would not be there. Nobody would witness an accident, much less a murder. Nobody would witness some person beating up some animal or another person. No. Nobody would witness somebody doing some harm to themselves. But all these things happen. And so that means that there is no say over what you see. In the operation of the pramanas, eyes, ears, etc., there is the presence of Bhagavan. The one who is famous as your own eyes. The one who is famous as not your own eyes, but everyone's eyes. All the eyes that are there see. And if there is any disturbance in this, in the sight, that is also part of the order. So adhigata yashasa means having gained this Bhagavan in the form of the withdrawal of all the senses from the sense organs. Adhigatena yashasa. Adhigata yashasa. And so then, therefore, you are not in charge of what you see. You are not in charge of what you hear. That is easier to in fact prove, because you are just walking by and suddenly you hear your name and somewhere behind a wall, behind the door. Naturally you stop to listen what they are saying, and you recognize the voices also. They are your friends, and then they don't have anything kind to say about you, and your poor ears have to listen to that. They have to bring that to light. And so, in other words, even though we say, I operate the sense organs, but really speaking, it is Bhagavan. The ahankara is there in the sense that you open the eyes and you choose to listen. The mind is behind the eyes, and the ears, you choose to see, you choose to listen, only that much. After that, the pramana vyapara, the operation of the pramana is in the hands of Bhagavan. So, adhigata yashasa grinhata chakshuradin. And then, so chakshuradin adipadat, all the other sense organs, starting with the eyes. And do you want me to list them? Yes? Do you want me to make a list of the sense organs? Say no, so that we can move on. Okay, so...
No, Shamini.
Yeah, so sense organs, everybody knows. 5 sense organs, we can do the math for ourselves. Eyes, etc. means everything else. So, ears, all those things. And then, the another connection here in the first line is that the joy, the Swarupananda, manifests when the sense organs are not in operation. You see, there is a very nice Anvaya Vyatireka going on. Anvaya Vyatireka means a maxim of invariable concomitance. And what is that? So, first we find out what is constant. What is constant here, the sense organs are, so the sense organs are gone, and then joy is there. And then the sense organs are not, the sense organs are present, joy may not be there. And so the presence of the sense organs here, this is a very nice way of understanding that the operation of the sense organs does not necessarily lead to the joy that we are talking about here. That Swarupananda, which is your own Atma, which is Paramatma, which is joyful and delightful effortlessly without needing an object to delight in. During the waking state, we are only accustomed to objects of delight that one wants to own, to have, to interact with. But in sleep, there is a very wonderful connection that the delight is there without the sensory, sensory perceptions. Sensory perceptions not there, delight is still there. So the delight is not connected to, dependent upon the operation of the sense organs and their contacting the sense objects. It is not there. Why? Because Bhagavan has swooped in and then cut the wires between the sense organs and the sense objects. So to a sleeping person, you call them out. No response. A donkey, get up. Still no response. They are not even insulted in sleep. No insulted. Monkey, donkey, anything you want, you can call them. They have no response whatsoever. So Bhagavan is the wire cutter, cutting all the connecting wires between the sense organs and the sense objects. How is that done? By withdrawing. Like even the turtle withdraws its limbs unto itself. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashah indriyanam indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. Second chapter, towards the end. The description, Jnani Lakshana, given by Lord Krishna. The second Jnani Lakshana. The first one is Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmani Eva Atmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnaha Tada Uchyate. So when the person is able to let go of the fancies even as they arise in the mind, that person, without dwelling on them or trying to act on them, that person is called Sthita Prajna, the one who is established in this knowledge. And then the second definition here, building upon that definition, Yada, when the person samharate, withdraws, withdraws what? The sense organs from the sense objects. Kurma angani iva. Kurma angani, like the limbs of the tortoise or the turtle. The turtle withdraws its own limbs unto itself. I mean, it does that out of fear, but the example is very finite. Don't look into it. It doesn't apply all the way. It's not that the Jnani is afraid. But here, just the act of that withdrawal is talked about of the sense organs, the organs of action. And then what happens to the Indriyani? Indriyarthebhyah. From the sense objects, the sense organs are withdrawn. And then then that person is said to be established. Tasya prajna pratisthita, that knowledge is assimilated, that Vedanta knowledge is assimilated completely. And the Jnani is able to do it in the waking state. Why? Because of the knowledge. You don't need to go to sleep in order to have an experience of the disconnection between the sense organs and the sense objects. Why? Because the wires are there because one is wired, and fried and seeking. So the wires are not sanctioned really. The sense organs are naturally dissociated from the sense objects. We forge the connection. When we delight in something and we look at it, we forge that connection. And one assumes that connection to be real. So naturally, one is not connected to anything. One is asanga, the Atma is asanga. So the connection between the sense organs and the ahankara is again, that I am as good as what I see, what I hear, what I have, etc. is also kritrimam, is also a forged connection, a forced connection. It is not there. The eye is free of the sense organs, what to talk of the sense objects. So then, because the Atma is apanipadam, adreshyam, agrahyam, agotram, ashrotram, it doesn't have ears, it doesn't hear anything. That is the eye which is described in the Upanishads. And so what to talk of the sense organs, what to talk of the connection with the sense objects, that is much, miles away. Here, the connection between the eye and the sense organs itself is iffy. It's a mithya connection. It's a mithya wiring. Because really speaking, the eye is free of the sense organs. Sense objects are even further. Because the sense organs are much closer in a way. And so therefore, this is all laid bare here. And this is in the sleep state. All this is laid bare because there is no connection between oneself and the sense organs. Even my ears. No, you don't have that feeling at all. That's why an insect crawls into it when one is sleeping. And then you have a funny sensation. You go to the doctor and then they bring out something with a pair of tweezers. Some cockroach, some baby cockroach or something has gone in. That's how it goes in. Because that sense of my ears I have to protect is not there in sleep. And Ravana, Ravana's brother, Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna was named such because he had ears in the shape of huge pots. He was huge. If he slept, one could just, a hiking enthusiast could easily confuse him for a small mountain and start climbing on top of him. He was like that. And then, because of a boon, mixed blessing from Lord Shiva, because he was completely tamasic. And in fact, Ravana was a great bhakta of Lord Shiva, and Ravana schooled him. With my tapas, Bhagavan is going to manifest. Ask him for nitya. Nityatvam means ask him for that infinitude, that knowledge of oneself as infinite. Ask him for immortality. Ask nitya. And he was half asleep. He didn't even hear anything. Very tamasic. And Lord Shiva came and he said, only 2 boons, and who is this fellow? What is this hill you have brought with you? No, he is my brother. Only 2 boons. Okay, no problem. Because your tapas wasn't all that great. It only, the karma phala is only up to 2 boons. All right. So he goads him, wakes him up. Come on, sprinkle some water. Come on, ask. And then the fellow was only thinking of sleep. Instead of nitya, he said nidra. Give me nidra. And then he fell in a big heap right there. A big hill formed right next to where Ravana is standing. And Ravana got very cross with Lord Shiva. He said, look at what you have done. How am I going to take him to Sri Lanka like this? What have you done? And Bhagavan Shiva said, well, I can't be blamed. He asked, I gave. And then, now you have only 1 boon. And Ravana was smouldering because that other boon he thought he will get for himself. But no, he had to use that boon to be able to take this fellow home. So he said, okay, at least if you can't take it away completely, mitigate it. Mitigate it so that at least he's awake, at least till to go to Sri Lanka. Because no wheelbarrow, nothing will fit him. He's huge. So then Lord took pity and said, all right, he will sleep like a bear. Because that's what he's doing anyway. So for 6 months he will be awake and 6 months he will be asleep. And unfortunately, this is karma, okay? So the fight between Ravana and Rama he happened to be the commander-in-chief, Kumbhakarna. And the fight between Rama and Ravana took place during Ravana's hibernation time. So how to wake him up? So then they got all the oil that was available in Sri Lanka. All the oil sellers were threatened with the pain of decapitation, and then they all brought their oil storage from storage reserves, all the oil reserves of the kingdom were heated up in huge vats. And then that hot oil was poured, the whole oil was poured into the ears, hoping to wake him up. Everything else was tried. And then when the hot oil was poured, he just felt it as just a little irritation. So if he was sleeping like this, he turned like this, causing the first oil spill in history. Okay, and then this is what happened. And so he didn't wake up. Everybody, all the people that were there trying to wake him up were slipping and sliding, all the asuras, very funny. And then they were slipping and sliding on top of one another, and it took a long time to clear up that oil. And the oil sellers were very angry. They threatened to go on strike because everything was spilled and they didn't have anything to sell. And and then this would be an incident that would repeat again when Hanumanji visited. And then, this Ravana and the oil sellers really must not have got along well, because again he commanded, bring some oil and tie up, put some cloth on the monkey's tail and set it on fire. And the monkey, Hanumanji, which was a regular size, he used his, what is that? Garima Siddhi, becoming huge. And the tail, could be wrapped around the island of Sri Lanka 3.5 times. That big it grew. Again the oil sellers ran out of oil. They could not, and then the clothes weavers ran out of cloth to wrap around the tail of Hanumanji. So anyhow, now back to this Kumbhakarna and the sleep state. This is where we are. So there is no the fact that the ears belong to him is even not there. So really that is not even a fact. That is not even a factor that is there in the reckoning of what is the Atma and what is its Swarupa. It is naturally free of all the organs of action and the sense organs. And the connection, the wiring between the sense organs and the sense objects, between oneself and the sense organs is a superimposition. It's an as though connection. It's an as though wiring, depending upon mamata and ahamta, me-ness and my-ness and I-ness. The ahankara with reference to the ears he says, these are my ears. The ahankara identified with the eyes says, these are my eyes. I see, I hear, I know. This is the one. So here in sleep, the very important disconnection, actually it could not be called a disconnection. It's a reconnection with oneself, which is free of even the sense organs, let alone the sense objects. So when the sense organs withdraw means what? Not just from the sense objects, that is just step 1. Step 2 is withdraw from this I notion also. Then how does this happen? Second line, Antaha sarvopakartra. All this is in third case. Yashasa grinhata sarvopakartra. Sarva upakartra. Sarva upakartra, this Bhagavan, which is in the form of the one who causes sight to take place, who causes hearing to take place. That is the one. The inner operator. The operator. Just like he is the operator where outside in the world of laws, etc., etc., he is also the inner operator. Inner operator. Meaning within the body, mind, sense complex. Within the body, mind, sense complex, all kinds of things that are going on. Then that is also there, which is the portfolio, which is within the portfolio of what we call Bhagavan. So then, which line are we on? Yes. So then Grinhati Chakshuradin Antaha Sarvopakartra. Sarvopakartra means the one who facilitates operations of the sense organs for all beings. Whether one is relating to things outside of oneself Again, outside is within quotes. So outside of oneself, such as sense objects, or one is doing sakshita, one is doing the witnessing of internal activities, thoughts, etc. The Atma is Jnanatma, Chit Swarupa. It is Sarvopakartra, means by this, by this force, by this Bhagavan's force, when the sense organs are withdrawn, that means what? Ishvara's blessings are there for you to rest. Adhigata Yashasa. You have gained that Bhagavan as yourself. Extremely famous Bhagavan. So, Adhigata Yashasa Saha Tadatmyam Apannaha. The one who has gained identity along with, this is the Itham Bhute Tritiya, the very rare usage of the third case, as in the form of Bhagavan, along with Bhagavan, so to speak, in the form of Bhagavan, has gained that identity of oneself as free of the sense organs, what to talk of sense objects. And what is this? Tulya Samsthaha. Tulya Samsthaha means it is the same for all of the beings. All the beings, have this. So the person, the little monkey sleeping on top of a tree, balanced but sleeping in between two branches, very precariously balanced, is enjoying the same sleep of the king on some kind of a memory foam mattress, or somebody who is rich. So the person sleeping on the street, that sleep is no different from the person sleeping in a wonderful bed. Why? Because both are with Bhagavan, both are in the form of Bhagavan. The external body mind sense complex has nothing to do, because this is an operation where one is one with oneself. That is the idea. Very beautiful, extremely beautiful. So Tulya Samstha, Tulyaha Samsthaha Yesham Te, meaning those whose Samstha, whose Pratishtha, how to translate that, whose source, whose source is one and the same. They are one with the source. Whether it is a person uncomfortably sleeping on a park bench because the person doesn't have a home, and then or whether the person is very rich, very well endowed with money and comforts, and sleeping in a nice golden four-post bed of the king. Tulya Samstha. Because they are not really enjoying anything around them. That's why the sleep is one and the same. Sleep is the greatest leveler. And then, I somehow skipped to 67. I'm going back now. Here. So then, Tulya Samstha. This Yatha we will take care of later, So Yatha we will look at later, because there is no Tatha there. So it's a little bit of an involved connection. So then, this being one with Bhagavan is highlighted here, because this is the natural state. This is not one more state, because even in the waking state, one is one with Bhagavan. But because the jiva is awake, and the jiva identifies out of ignorance along with its body, mind, senses, therefore the jiva feels disconnected and alienated from Bhagavan. It's not that, this is only in sleep I am one with Bhagavan, so this is one more reason not to wake up. That is not where this verse wants you to go. One more reason to stay asleep. What is the point of waking up? No. The idea is that you are one with Bhagavan all the time. You are naturally unconnected to this, you're naturally just indwelling this body to which you have no connection really. and you are naturally indwelling the body-mind-sense complex. So the body-mind-sense complex is housing you. So in a sense you can say it belongs to you, but that I notion which is superimposed upon the body-mind-sense complex is a product of Atma Ajnanam. So the I notion which identifies with everything as I, me, mine, is a product of Ajnanam. And here that is laid bare because the eyes naturally see, the ears naturally hear. And here, in the absence of hearing, seeing, etc., in the absence of the ownership, the sense of ownership with the sense organs, then what happens? You see that there is effortlessly you are in one with Bhagavan, and that oneness with Bhagavan is Swarupananda, where there is nothing in particular to want, nothing to pursue, nothing to complain about. So then, Yatha Tulya Samstha means, Yatha here just means this is Samanya for everyone. This is one scenario. Yatha here means not just as. So the Udaharana, the example is just like, all the people are asleep and enjoying, this is, enjoying something which is their own nature. And then what? The yatha is here is what is called viparita drishtanta. It is an opposite example. So yatha, even though means like, here we have to take it as unlike. Unlike. Yatha, this word yatha goes along with the first word in the third line. Yatha etesham madhye. Etesham means among all these people. Who? The Tulya Samsthas, the people who are all enjoying the sleep, so among these people who are able to effortlessly sleep and effortlessly be with Bhagavan, then what? There are some others. Who are those others? Kilbishas very nice compound. Kilbishas Kilbisham is Dukkham. Kilbisham sprishati iti kilbishasprik. Sprishati iti sprik. Sprishati touches, sixth conjugation. So sprishati kilbishasprik. So the toucher of sorrow, the toucher of sorrows, who is in their right mind wants to go and touch sorrow? Nobody wants to touch sorrow. What is this being talked about? No, they become the habitual people who go into sorrow, who contact sorrow on a regular basis. Kilbishasprik. Why are they contacting sorrow on a regular basis? Because that answer is given there. Jathara bhriti krite. Krite means for the sake of. For the sake of what? Jathara bhriti. For the sake of filling the tummy. Filling the tummy. That is the pressure here. Filling the tummy is the pressure. And this is of course a upalakshana for ragadveshas. If filling the tummy was our only pressure, then everybody would be in a great shape. Because once the tummy is filled, there is nothing to do. But still, so many after lunch activities are planned. Why? Why? Because obviously it's not just Jathara Bhriti Krite. It is a upalakshana. It is a metaphor for the one who is addicted to karma, and the addiction to karma comes because of kama. Addicted to karma. Addicted to karma means the source of the addiction is kama. What is the source of kama? Atma Ajnanam. Wherever we go, we come round and round back to this Atma Ajnanam alone. That is the source of everything. Not knowing the truth of the I, what happens? One becomes not just a contactor of sense objects. When you are a contactor of the sense objects, then you are also a contactor of dukkha. You are knocking on the door of dukkha all the time. And then, this is, that's what it is. I want to contact happiness, but then you knock on the door of dukkha repeatedly because what you contact is finite. And then the object that is contacted is finite. The ears or the eyes, the sense organs are also that which are contacting is finite. The mind which is sensing the contact is finite. And yet, out of some miracle, you want to reap the infinite out of these finite operations. How is that possible? So the person becomes totally dejected. And so that's why the person is a kilbishous prick. Not one who touches the sense objects with the help of the sense organs, because that's an objective fact. I see, I hear so many things, I feel, I sense, all these things are okay. But when most of the things you sense are sorrowful, then we have to look into something here very deeply. And then when we look into it with the glasses of self-enquiry, with the Shruti glasses, then you see that whatever you touch turns into sorrow. Self-destructs. Why? Because it's different from what you really want. What you want is the infinite, and by definition, whatever you are able to objectify is finite. It's a Bhasmasura situation. Bhasmasura was a asura, of course. That's why he's got the last name Asura. And then he got a boon from Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is very gullible, whoever comes and does some tapas, he says, okay, tathastu. And then Vishnu has to come and rescue the situation. It has happened many times. And so here, this Bhasmasura was just, asked for, he wanted world domination. And he thought it would be cool to get a boon which would make everything turn into ashes. What a boon! Really. In fact, I liked that other boon better. In the Western story, that Midas, King Midas, wanted everything to turn to gold. At least that was at least something valuable. Here, he wanted to destroy everything he touched. Bhasma. And then, Lord Shiva, as soon as the word Tathastu was barely articulate, Tathas, he still had to say Tu. And then Bhasmasura ran after him because he wanted to reduce Lord Shiva to ashes. Lord Shiva ran. This is a story, okay? Lord Shiva is indestructible. Lord Shiva himself is ash, okay? How can he be turned into ashes? He's already ash. So when sometimes children ask me, what is the difference between Vishnu and Shiva? I said, very easy. Vishnu, cash. Shiva, ash. Okay, this is how to remember. This is how to remember. For children, they were very delighted. They were very happy with the answer. Yeah, you just remove the C and then you get Shiva, cash and ash. So here, there's, so nobody can destroy Lord Shiva. This is just a story. And so Lord Shiva ran as fast as his legs would carry him and went to Vaikuntha, knock, knock, who is there? Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, who? The Lord Shiva you don't want to see. I have gotten into another scrape. All right, come in. Hide inside the palace. Don't worry, I'll take care of this fellow who's chasing you. And Bhasmasura comes. Where is he? And by that time, Vishnu does a gender bender. Yoo-hoo, he says, and Bhasmasura, instead of Lord Vishnu, sees the most resplendent and the most beautiful woman that he can ever, he had ever seen in his entire life. Yoo-hoo, hello, Can I help you? Well, and he just even forgets he was chasing after Lord Shiva. He said, I was chasing after a fellow, I don't see him, never mind. Will you marry me? Sure, you sound like a very nice person, I will marry you. But, and he says, oh, let me embrace you. Because this is, I think 8 forms of marriage are recognized in the Vedas. And one of them, unfortunately, is not in the Vedas, in the Dharma Shastras, and one of them is the Asuri Vivaha, means the Asuric marriage. Oh, they have different rights. Yeah, well, they have different RIGHTS rights. They think they own whoever they want to have, and then it's like a caveman marriage. You drag whatever you like back into your cave. This is called Asuri marriage. So this is, of course, the only marriage right, pun intended, that Bhasmasura knew how to get, and then he went, and then he wanted to just drag the woman back to his lair. Vishnu, of course. Vishnu said, no. Deva marriage is different from Asura marriage. We have a lot of rituals. Oh, but I don't know any of them. Don't worry. I will teach you. And we have to do some dances, we have to do all kinds of things. And then so you just do as I do, and then after that the marriage will be solemnized. So he says, first we give our thanks to all of the forces, the 5 elements, Bhagavan, everything. We just go like this because these forces have brought us together. And so very awkwardly he goes like this. He's never given thanks to anything. And then she, which is Vishnu, does a few moves, like this, and then she goes like this, and he also goes like this, and thereby, reduces himself to ashes. So like this, drishtanashta swabhavaha. Whatever you see is in a way, everybody is like this. It's like the curse of Bhasmasura prevails. Whatever you see is drishtanashta swabhava. The curse of Bhasmasura means that it is already reduced to ashes. It doesn't have any kind of a bearing in terms of longevity. There is nothing there at all. Everything is finite. It's already broken, it's already gone. If it is a person you are seeking, it's already one is already bereft, one is already gone from that person, or that person has gone from you. If it's an object, it is broken. If it is an event, it has already passed. It's like time travel, really. You've already been there, done that, been there, done that, been there, done that. And then so, etesham madhye, even among the people who are enjoying this sleep, there are people who are unable to sleep. That is what the example is. Why? Jathara bhriti krite kilbisha sprik. These contactors of ash, these contactors of sorrow, these contactors of the permanent reminders of finitude. Then bahivritti raste, who are outwardly focused. Outwardly meaning they don't have a rich inner life of enquiry, contemplation, nothing. And so therefore what? This is what is, yo bahihi aste, they are outwardly focused. Tvak chakshu shrotra nasa rasana vashamitaha. Itaha means gone. Gone, literally gone. Gone means what? Gone to be enslaved by the sense of touch. Here everything is listed. That's why I didn't list it earlier. The sense of touch, and then the sense of tvak chakshu, sight, shrotra, hearing, nasa, olfactory nerves, and then rasana, jihva, tongue, sense of taste. Vashamitaha, they have gone to be enslaved. They have become enslaved, sadly become enslaved. Yati shokancha moham. So they gain delusion and they gain sorrow. How, etc., we will see next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yeah, so Shubha has given the correct citation. It is not 1072 10, 1071 10. Okay, in the Rig Veda. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Oh.